Today I fucked up by taking mushrooms with my girlfriend and having one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. Okay boys and girls, a bit of a long one here, so buckle up, it's going to be a rough ride. A few years back my girlfriend and I thought we had the house to ourselves as her mum was away. We decided it'd be fun to have some mushrooms and root around. For about an hour or so I was drinking so much water I had to keep stopping to piss cause my bladder kept hurting. So I'd run to toilet. Try to get boner to go down so I could piss then back into the room and back at it. This went on for about 90 minutes at least. I must have stopped to piss at least 5 or so times, but it never seemed to get a huge amount out. Meanwhile I had probably drank about 4 liters of water, it was just going straight through me. I was taking such long time to blow that we were both tired and the pit stops I was making were adding to this. Finally I was getting close to coming. It was building up for like 10 minutes. I needed to piss but didn't want to stop cause we were so close. My body was quivering. Loads on shrooms are way more sensitive and this had been a big build-up. As I'm feeling it about to go she starts sucking me off and going down as far as she could. Finally the moment comes and I let out what feels like the biggest load of my life. She tries to take it all but it starts to come out of her nose and she pulled her face off it choking going OMG. A mouthful of water just pours out of her mouth. She keeps jerking it off and it's fucking going everywhere. The roof, her bed, the floor, all over me. No word of a lie she's jerking it and I'm still having the longest orgasm of my life. She's sitting there going, OMG how is there so much? She is seeming super turned on by my ability to shoot what must have been nearly half a liter of jizz but at some point she slows down. My dick keeps spasming and shooting loads on its own volition now. This is where it gets bad. All of a sudden she goes, wait are you pissing, is that piss? I'm like, no, it's cum. She's like, no, it's not. There's too much. OMFG you're fucking pissing on me. That's fucking piss are you fucking serious? Stop you're still pissing on me. OMG what the fuck you fucking pissed in my fucking mouth. What the fuck is wrong with you? She runs out of the room naked screaming. It's like 4 a.m. I run after her naked also. While I'm still orgasming and loads of what I'm now realizing is piss are shooting out in bursts in every direction she's run to the bathroom crying and screaming and I'm consoling her at the locked door saying, it's definitely cum. It's not piss, you can't piss while erect. Then fuck me sideways. This is where it somehow gets even worse. Her mum had come home at some point in the night and we didn't know. She walks out from her room obviously concerned saying, what's going on guys, everything okay? Here I am tripping balls. Locked out of the bathroom. Shooting loads of piss out of my erect cock. Standing in a weird position. Cause it's hard to stand normally when you keep shooting loads. Talking to her mum now. She sees my cock out then goes, ooh okay guys is everything right? Then looking away. My girlfriend goes yes it's fine mum. She just goes, okay guys well. I'm going back to bed, and walks away. I go to the toilet and I can't stop the loads dropping. I bend over to aim the cock into the toilet and just wait for like another 5 minutes until it runs out of juice. Then finally I lose the erection too. I make the naked dash back to the room to put my clothes on but realize they're all covered in piss too. I put my piss-covered clothes on. Then go to grab a couple of towels to try and start cleaning up and my girlfriend walks back into the room after having had a shower. She's looking at me with nothing but trauma and distrust in her eyes and she say, do you swear that was cum? Obviously I can't admit I pissed all over your house, soiled your bed, violated your body. Nobody wins there. So I double down and comfort her saying, of course babe. Sometimes you just get really big loads on the shrooms. She goes, but why isn't it white and sticky and why does it smell like piss? I'm like, I dunno. Guess that's what happens when it's that big of a load. So we go to grab the towels and wipe down all the cum from the hallway and the bedroom. By this point we've run out of dry towels. There's no extra linen. We chuck everything in the washing machine then head back to the bedroom. She the say, I can't believe my mum saw you ejaculating all over the floor. I don't think I can ever look her in the eyes ever again. That was so bad. I was like, yeah you screaming you pissed on my didn't help the situation. The worst part was the room fucking smelt like piss. We both knew it was piss. But neither of us wanted to admit what happened so we just rolled with the, it was definitely cum, story. Went to sleep laying a damp mattress, in a room that smelled like piss, with no linen, next to a girl I had violated in the most heinous way possible, in my GF's mum's house who had walked out while I was shooting loads of piss all over her house and her daughter had been screaming you pissed on me. Knowing I couldn't leave till the shrooms wore off. Knowing that I'd have to wear clothes covered in piss on my drive home. Not going to be a surprise when I say I didn't sleep a lot that night. At about 5:30 am I kissed her and left to avoid bumping into her mum. Still to this day, not a fucking clue how it happened. Edit. Translation Australian to American. Root equals sex. Too long did not read. Took shrooms, pissed all over girlfriend and her house in front of her mum. Slept in her piss-filled room afterwards. Too long did not read. Op took shrooms, didn't know if he was coming or going. I'm sitting here trying to come up with a creative, witty comment but cannot stop laughing at the thought of you just unloading gallons of piss into your GF's hallway in front of her mom while yelling you're coming to your girlfriend at 4 a.m. One time I took shrooms and when I was peaking, a 6.0 earthquake hit. That was wild lol. Nice story, is any part of it true? I'm sorry, but this is one of the most embarrassing moments in your life? This would be enough for me to skip the country and start a new life. Are you saying you have other stories that even come close to this on the embarrass-o-meter? Urologist here, this is technically impossible, let me explain it like you're 5. While you're ejaculating, your penis is basically giving itself a task to clean its pipes until it's completely clean of cum. The coming and immediately turning into infinite pissing is just ridiculous. Meanwhile I had probably drank about 4 liters of water. I don't know how quickly you drank this water, but water intoxication is real and can kill you. Be careful with this. The same thing happened to me on shrooms. Not during sex and I'm a lady. But I could not pee and then I could not tell if I was peeing or not or if I was wet or not. It was very weird and I was outside around lots of other people. Today I fucked up by not being a man and stepping up. To the young woman working the counter at the gas station, I am sorry. I am running on 3 hours of sleep and was very irritated that the old dude in front of me was taking forever to pay for his shit and move on. I started to notice he was asking you intrusive questions such as, "Where are you from?" "Here." "Here? I've never seen you around before. How long have you lived here?" "My whole life." How long has that been?" I am unsure what you said to this but I'm pretty positive your answer to this was below the age he was hoping for, 18, because you look very young. But his reaction, "Wow. No, I don't believe you." Then homie says bye and taps on your COVID glass to get your attention for him to say bye. But he forgets to pay and your coworker had started talking to you so you didn't realize. He went to the bathroom and you rang my drinks up with his stuff and that's when we realized he didn't pay. The other clerk opened up and waved me over there. He came back out of the bathroom. You told him he forgot to swipe his card. He said, "Uh-oh, you were about to call the cops on me." Yay, awkward laugh. What were you going to tell them? Creepy wink. As a man, I realize now that this is what women mean when they ask men to be men and step up. Granted. At least to me, it was very mild instance, it was still very gross and creepy. So I apologize to you. Too long did not read. Old guy creepy flirting with gas station attendant. I didn't speak up out of frustration and lack of sleep, awareness. Edit. Thank you to everyone who has shared advice for future situations, personal experiences, and additional things to look out for. It's greatly appreciated. To anyone who has been affected by something similar, worse. No matter your gender or the gender of the creep, you didn't deserve it. I hope you know that judging off the amount of love in the comments, there are a lot of people who care and are looking out for others when they can. Stay safe. I find it creepy that he didn't pay and went to the bathroom. Like he was stalling and waiting for you to be gone so he could continue with his flirting. Something about this being written in second person makes this feel more personal and creepy. You didn't foo. You learned a valuable lesson that I hope you will implement every day going forward. For future reference, there are ways to deal with stuff like this other than direct confrontation. Even just distraction can be very helpful and much less confrontation, if you just change the scenario without making it look like you're specifically trying to stand up to him. In a situation like this, running on little sleep and not personally knowing the person you're defending, something like that can sometimes be a good solution. Start by watching them like they are doing something wrong and you know it. Give them incredulous looks. Have a chuckle at their expense. Make them aware that they are not alone and they are being observed. Is it just me or is this post really hard to read? I've been trying to wrap my head around this for like 5 minutes and I can't seem to understand. Sometimes the best thing to do is nothing at all. You're right. This was a very mild instance, and it's probably best that you didn't intervene because some people can become extremely aggressive once confronted about this stuff. Granted, he was being creepy, But usually it's best to stay out of things like this unless they start to say really creepy, unwanted things or become physical in their pursuits. She had cameras, a counter, the COVID glass, and her coworker acting as a first line of defense from people exactly like him. The public should only get involved in specific circumstances. You could have saved yourself or her being attacked inside or outside the station by not getting involved here. On another note, I cannot stand small possibly flirty chat when I am waiting. Like move to the side, and let desperate ass mouth keep running but let me pay. Common fucking sense. Today I fucked up eating a nut at a fancy party. Obligatory not actually today. So today I was at a really fancy party. Like they spent £10,000 on a long table filled with expensive meats and fancy cheese. They had an apartment overlooking the lake in Queenstown, NZ, very posh. For reference, I'm a scrap metal yard worker from northwest England. I am not fancy. Anyway, I'm trying to mingle with lawyers and investment bankers. Things are going all right. I'm sort of bluffing my way through conversations with a church minister. I didn't know they drank but okay, and a lawyer asking me about Brexit. Anyway, I excuse myself to go and have a nibble from the buffet. Bear in mind we've been doing shots from a ski stick all night. Don't ask me why. Anyway, I grab a nut from a bowl mid-conversation. People look at me funny. This nut is very hard. It wasn't a nut. I'm trying to chew on a used olive pit. Someone's used and discarded olive pit is in my mouth. There's no elegant way out of this, so I simply spit it out and try to move on, but now I'm the weird olive guy to these millionaires. Fucking hell. Too long did not read. Ate what I thought was a nut. Was a used olive pit. Edit. A few people have asked why there was a used pit bowl on the table. I've no idea, to be honest. I'd imagine someone put it there after realizing the olives had stones in them. Also, the shots from the ski is apparently called a shot ski. I would recommend it for a laugh. Chewing on a used olive stone I would not, however. I am glad in this context that nut was not a euphemism for semen, as it usually is on this sub. This has got to be the one time that a "Today I fucked up" post has less backstory than I wanted. Usually I get your life story to set up for, my girlfriend found out I watch porn. But no, nothing on how this metal yard worker ended up at the millionaire party. To be fair, they didn't quite have true hospitality in mind by serving droops with pits intact. I could see how a bowl of discarded olive pits could be mistaken for almonds or something. Who wants a bowl of spitty olive pits hanging out on their spread? Ha. My family has a similar story about my late grandfather. Very similar scenario. It was a family get-together at one of his daughter's houses. He'd been drinking and had mentioned to one of his other children that the nuts that the host had out tasted terrible. It was cat food that was on the counter so that the dog wouldn't eat it. He'd been nibbling on it for half the night. He's been long gone, but we still lovingly tell this story at least once a year. Who the fuck puts an olive pit back in the bowl? I mean, classy people don't spit their olive pits back out into a public bowl. That's just not classy. Cue The Office, US version. LMAO. My dad did this at dinner, but with edamame bean pods. It was dark and loud in the restaurant. He thought he just kept getting the duds that maybe split open during the boil or steam and lost the bean inside. Turns out he kept grabbing the discard bowl. Tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy. This reminds me of one time I was drunk and went into this fancy apartment complex in San Diego and saw a truffle machine, where you put a quarter in and get what looked like a chocolate truffle. I pop it in my mouth. Something is wrong. It's a literal ball of fertilized dirt and seeds meant to throw in the grass and grow plants, I guess? I was gagging and spitting for like a full hour. I was with a huge group of people and it was so embarrassing. Today I fucked up by asking my great-grandfather to tell me stories of his past. My great-grandfather, we will call him C, moving forward, is the sweetest man I have ever met, and I strive to be as accepting and calm as he is towards everything. He speaks with a faint Irish accent that he inherited from his Irish immigrant father, and it has mostly faded over the years. I did an impression of him a few years ago and he smiled and teared up telling me that I sounded just like his father, so now I greet him with my impression when I first see him. As kind and open as we are with each other, he has always pushed away answering me when I ask him to tell me some stories from his past he would like to share. Usually by telling a joke or a stupid or silly event from only like a week ago. These past couple months have been different though. He had COVID and since then he has been in and out of hospitals for issues with his heart. I can't visit him, so I called him up and did my impression, but this time I followed it with, still in my Irish accent, "You got any stories you wanna tell me, see?" He chuckled and asked my grandma to leave the room. We sat there in silence for a minute before he said, "Yeah son, I think I do." He told me that he planned to take some things to his grave, but he doesn't want to anymore. Going into this, I knew C's father, my great-great-grandfather, was some kind of criminal up in the Chicago area, and that he was the one who immigrated here and started our family. Much to my surprise, C admitted that he was involved in his father's doings as well. He grew up learning that you can separate yourself from the bad things you do because it is just business. His dad constantly kept him on cleaner duty, which is called that because they take care of the shit when it hits the fan. At the time they would send someone over to your house to get you. Those that had home phone lines would be forced to stay in their house. One day C was called because they had a small group of their people get attacked in the street and they were going to go rough up the perpetrators with bats, knuckles, all with the intent to maim and not kill. One of their guys on cleaner duty refused to help because he had his kid's ballgame. They continued to their destination and beat up the group while C suffered a fractured kneecap and 2 broken fingers in the scrap. The next day C's father told him that turning your back on the people who rely on you is what a traitor does and that man's disrespect can't go unpunished. C's dad called the man into their bar the next day and made C bust up his hand and kneecap for letting it happen to him. He claims that he injured many people in his life, stole in the upwards of tens of thousands of dollars from mostly businesses, and had hands in rigging elections, where he knew some really bad people were put in Chicago's positions of power. He apologized to me and told me that was long ago. His dad took most of the blame and the statute of limitations ran out on most of the things he had done. He confessed to God many times and thought he came to peace, but wanted to let at least one of his grandkids to know the truth. While, sure, I think this is cool to know this side of him, it has damaged my image of C, and now I will always see him as some retired mafioso of the Valley Gang. Edit. I agree with some people that this is kind of cool, but to me it seemed like a foo at the time just due to entirely altering what I believed my grandfather to be. He is a good man now and I can just accept that for what it is, but I didn't expect to totally change the backstory of a man I've known all my life, while he is on his deathbed. My perception has changed a bit reading the comments. Too long did not read. I asked my 92-year-old great-grandfather to tell me stories of his past and he began to tell me he was a part of the Irish mob up in Chicago back when he was younger, with his dad directing him. If you can, try to see past the misdeeds and remember that clearly he must love you to tell you his deepest secrets. Document what you can because when he dies it'll all be gone. There are so many things I wish I had asked my grandparents and now there is no way. My grandfather is just turning 90. He doesn't remember much about today or yesterday, but he sure can tell you about moonshining in Florida in the 30s. Yeah, my grandma was a Gambino. She had stories, but wouldn't talk a whole lot about that side of the family. One of my favorites was when my dad was little, he had went to get her the paper one morning. He ran to her saying, "Pappy, pappy." That was what he called her dad. Front page of the paper was a picture of Carlo Gambino one of the times he got arrested. She said she had to do a double and triple take looking at the picture, because she said he looked 100% just like her dad. Then she told my dad, "Oh, that's just your poppy's cousin," and went about the day like it was nothing. This is not a fuck up. This is super interesting. First, remember that was an entirely different era. Back then you did what your father told you. You didn't ask questions or hum and haw because if you did you got smacked, the strap or switched with a willbranch. Basically if C didn't do what his father or grandfather said to do you might have never been born. Anyways, ask yourself this, does C love you? Do you love C? If yes, then look past the bad. Take it as life experiences and a part of your family's past. It does not determine who you are today. If not, then find your big boy pants and realize that C thinks you are special to him enough to tell you this. He felt that it was something he needed to get off his chest and chose you to do so. That is something not very many people have. Not a foo at all. In fact, if I was you I would learn as much as possible about what C could tell you. It's honestly a treasure of historical info that is valuable. Day in the life of the average low-level gangster during that era. And he is remorseful after all these years. Should he have been punished back in the day? Maybe. But he wasn't. And it's pretty deep in the past now. Let it go and love C for the man you know him as now. It might have been tough to hear, but it probably gave C some peace to confess to someone he cares about. I'm glad he got out of that life. I'm sure the whole thing is very complicated in his mind and conscience. The sum of your grandfather hasn't suddenly been diminished by your knowledge. He was always that guy. He will always be the sweet loving man you knew as a grandfather, but now there is more not less, and while you might not like the more, it would be wrong to consider him as less.